Hello, everybody, and welcome to Dot to Dot. Today, I'm going to look into a second translation of the 90-foot stone. And I'm going to show you some amazing correlations it has with our theory, the vault theory. And also, I want to thank all the people that came out, subscribers, and anyone else who came out to our interview last Saturday on the Quest of Oak Island podcast with John Stemmer. Thank you, John, for having us on. And it definitely was a fun time. And we hope that something will come of it. Perhaps the people on Oak Island will start taking a view. But anyway, let me get into this, who I want to talk about. And I have a lot of pictures here I want to show you. We're going to talk about this guy, Dr. Ross Wilhelm. And he was a decoder in World War II. He served as I would guess, a decoder of messages from the Germans or Japanese. And he was a professor at the University of Michigan. And he wrote this paper right here about the Spanish in Nova Scotia in the 16th century. And he does a pretty fascinating, this is a 40-page, basically he just goes over the mystery of Oak Island. And he takes the 90-foot stone and he deciphers it in a different way. He deciphers the stone using which is a deciphering wheel. It's a method of deciphering code. And this comes from a 1563 book that is called the Porta Deciphering Wheel. And it's an amazing thing. It's very complex, and I won't get into how it's used. But Dr. Wilhelm, being a deciphering expert, he came up with his own wheel, which is right here. And he put in the symbols of the 90-foot stone. And you can see it's a reconstruction of the Oak Island cipher disk. Only symbols used in the message are shown. So he used this stone to decipher it, and he came up with a message in Spanish. That message in Spanish was right here. It says, this is the English translation upon the plain text. It says, at 80, you will guide maize or millet into the estuary or firth drain F. Well, I'm telling you guys, this really tells me a lot. It brings up a lot of red flags, especially at the 80. And let me show you here. This is basically without the added into and all. This is the straight translation. At 80 guide millet estuary drain F. So this is the first one that he came up with. And then this is the paraphrase. He's using paraphrases into it to make sense of it to us. Now, the things that stand out to me here is 80. Also, the firth drain F. F. This is very important for us because if you remember, this is the Antiara schematic, which we believe is a schematic of the hydraulic system underneath basically Oak Island. And if you look over here, this is what we call the hole under the earth. or the hole under the hatch, I should say. Here's the hatch E, and the hole is F. This is the drain hole, and it's lettered F. It matches perfectly to the translation that is given by this drain F. Now it says at 80 guide. So at 80 guide. What is the 80 guide? Well, it can mean a couple of things. One of the things that I think it may mean is that it's referring to this 80-degree triangle, which is made by our 2130 distance at the extension triangle. And if you've seen my previous videos, you understand this, but this is a distance that is taken at the bottom of the Marie note. And one of the primary uses of this distance, and taken from the extension triangle, it goes to the hole, which is F, to the Antiar schematic, goes to this point right here, which is under a trap door. Now, whether this is on the surface or underneath the ground, we don't know. But you could call this a guide, and it is corresponding to an 80-degree triangle. Now, Dr. Wilhelm, he says that the 80 is concerning the depth in which the 90-foot stone was found at. But he also says that this message here is an instruction, that this is an instruction to do something. And I would say that the 80 corresponding to an angle for people who are in the know. Now remember, the 90-foot stone was also translated using the Kempton cipher, and a lot of people support that. And this is what Wilhelm says, is this is possibly a dual cipher, and that the people who are in the know would know how to decipher it using this method that he calls out in his study. And I would think that the people that are in the know would also know what 80 stood for. Now, the maize or the millet, I don't know what to do with that. But the estuary or drain, firth. Now the firth, or an estuary, more so the firth, could refer to an underground sinkhole or some kind of erosion under the ground. It could be erosion above the ground, as it's used is like a fjord would be a firth. But you could also say that it is a sort of a water erosion, natural water erosion under the earth, like a sinkhole, some kind of a cave hole, and that where water would be to drain to it. Now the maize or the millet, that is some kind of grain. And Dr. Wilhelm's theory was that you were going to throw maize or millet into the drains at Smith's Cove to block the flow of water. Now here's another possibility, is we have the Antiar schematic here, and we also see that this valve, which we call the hump, which is at the 522 mark, 522 hide, or 560 feet from where you enter into this upper corridor, which is above the hydraulic system. Notice it's closed. Now, we've been saying that you would close this in order to drain the water out. But let's think here. This is sitting on water, okay? But what if this was sitting on a big bed of grain? Now, if this was all grain under that was supporting this, and actually this would be up, okay, up a little bit, and so that it was closed. This was all grain under here. It would work as a desiccant. In other words, to wick away the water from the structure of wherever the treasure is. And instead of closing this valve, what if you opened it? Would open this valve, flush out the grain, and put it down through the drain here. Drain. It's just a thought, but the thing that really stands out the most to me is the 80 guide, the word 80, and also drain F. Drain F is very corresponding to this vault theory because it's calling out F. And that is what is on the Ontiara schematic, because this is drain F, according to this. Now this came out in 1971, so the timing of this is a little later than the earlier translation of the 90-foot stone, but it's got possibilities. And I think it's pretty credible too that this may be this treasure vault may be sitting on a bed of grain. Filled this up with grain, and the trick of this would be to wash it out to lower this. Instead of letting the water out, you let the grain, you guide the grain out to the drain to lower this. Anyway, that's what I have for now, and I'm sure I showed you all the. Oh no, I didn't. Here, this is what he had said in his report also. Is this a hoax? And he says, while it is not possible to fully verify or deny all the findings over the years concerning Oak Island structure, credible evidence does support the conclusion that there is some type of installation on the island required considerable effort and knowledge to construct, and which was built prior to 1795. Further, the nature of the structure points strongly toward it having been some type of treasure vault. So, at least he supports the fact that there is something on Oak Island and that it is a treasure vault. So this is the findings and studies of Dr. William Ross in 1971. I find it very interesting, and I never knew about a second translation of the 90-foot stone, which is really not the 90-foot stone, you guys. It was found far before 90 feet. So that's it for today. Thank you for watching. Have a great one.